Welcome to the Crack On podcast, hosted by me, John Saunders. Crack On! Hey guys, hope you're well. Welcome to another edition of the Crack On podcast. Episode 4, Series 2, Chuff the Beans. We've got another one to you. So today is with great pleasure to introduce the MD of Firmballs, co-founder of the County Business Club in Sussex. Great guy, Sam Thomas, been there, lost the business, sort of come back and really is a true fighter in all senses of the word. So we recorded this a few weeks ago. The recording internet, due to my internet not being amazing, is a little bit in and out, but I hope you enjoy. It's just a great little podcast, and give me some feedback. Crack on. Afternoon, Sam. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Good to see you.
Yeah, great. Thanks for coming on, mate. Thanks for coming on. Series 2, like I said, Series 1 are already done, and on to Series 2. So thanks for coming on.
Great, mate. It's great to be here, and yeah, I appreciate it. It's good. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, great, mate. Great. So I've started Series 2 with a bit of a difference. I know that difference is I want to start with a couple of questions everyone's gonna get. So first one up, what is Crack On to you?
Mate, I guess, look, Crack On, it's getting up every day, positive attitude, going out there, making things happen, believing in yourself, and just, whatever's happening in life, just getting out there and making the best of it, making the best of every day, and, doing what we can to succeed,
Yeah, great. That's a great one. And that's exactly why I put you on you, mate. Mr. Smiley, I call you, because you're literally smiling all the time and positive, which is brilliant.
You got to have a smile on your face, haven't you? Things are tough out there, and we'll. But you get out. I try and get up every day, and get out for me run, put a smile on my face. I go, right, what's the day got in store, and how can we go and have a good one? We all have bad days, of course we do, but look, let's get out there and do what we can.
Yeah, cool. And then second one, then, who is your idol in business, or idol generally, and why?
I guess, like, for me, there's I could go through a list, I guess, of people, sports people, and I'm a big sports fan, so sports people and business people in general have succeeded. You sort of Maradonas and Pelés and people like that who grew up idolising from a sports point of view, and then Richard Branson's obviously, and them type of people from a business essence. But I guess for me, like, people are really within the business community, within Sussex generally, there's people that really inspire me, people I really know and I've got to know over the years, who run their own businesses and do things in a positive way and similar, I guess, mindsets to me. People I guess mentioned like Gary Peters and Gav Willis and people like that who are good friends of mine, who I've built good relationships with, but I guess around me, that they sort of inspire me to want to be a good business person and want to go and succeed and do great things, I suppose. So yeah,
cracking, mate. And that's brilliant. I love that because we both know Gav, and I get a sense that that you just feed off each other, which is, and people like that. It's brilliant, isn't it? Brilliant. So tell us where it all started then, mate. Where did it all start for yourself? Talk us through the Tony and Guy, and where did business all start for you?
Well, mate, I guess, look, going back, I thought it's going back over 15 years now, I suppose. I sort of go through life as you do, and you sort of look at, growing up, and as many young kids that wanted to be a professional footballer. As soon as that didn't work out, you go, what's the next step? What am I going to do? And, I played around with ideas, and I guess I had that. But I guess for me, there was a situation where at school, entrepreneurship wasn't really encouraged as much at school. I don't think the word was used, and I certainly couldn't spell it, let alone know what it meant, I guess. But I guess for me, it was like, now you look at a situation where I've been into schools and mentored, and they've got these entrepreneurial mentorships within schools, and it's more accessible. And I think from a younger age, you go, right, you can't run your own business because it's it's only for rich people businesses, and when you sort of, because it's now encouraged and it's a little bit more open, I'd love the thought of my young twins coming to me, and if they wanted to be a solicitor or a doctor or something along them lines and wanted to go to university, then of course I'd be happy about that and encourage it. But if they wasn't sure of the path they wanted to take in regards to a professional industry, then they come to me, love them to come to me with an idea and say, Dad, I've got an idea for a business. We want to do that. I'd encourage that as much as I would the university side of things, I think, from my point of view. And then, so yeah, I sort of, not really knowing what I was going to do, sort of play around with a few things that I said, and I ended up getting into hairdressing at 25, thinking I'm going to be a hairdresser. I like the fashion industry, so I jumped into that, and I went for the best. Obviously, Tony and Guy at the time, 400 salons globally, and I was like very excited. I thought, what? Realised quite quickly that wasn't actually that great at hairdressing, to be honest, but I actually loved being involved in the industry, and I had an opportunity. I ended up managing one of the busiest salons in the country, in Essex, in Lakeside. 40 odd staff, and it was a great experience for me. And born out of that, then become an opportunity for me to take over my own salon, which was part of the Tony and Guy group, one of their sister companies, Essentials. And I've come down to, and it was in Brighton, so I was living in Essex still. We, the salon was in Brighton. Commuted for 2 years, from 2010 to on my motorbike, which was a challenge. I'm not going to lie, 7 days a week, 130 miles round trip. But again, I guess alluding to what you said before, that's that crack on mentality. It was just part for me. It was just part of my daily routine. I got up at 7. I drove my motorbike down, done a day's work at the salon, drove back, and it was just all part of the experience. And I guess that was something that I wanted to do. So, but it was a great learning curve for me. 3 years at the salon, from 2010 when I opened it, and unfortunately then closed in 2013. But it was that was my first sort of business that I run myself, and a great experience. Learned a lot. I guess a lot about business, but a lot about myself as well during that time, which was key for me. And then and then it was one of them situations that you look at with having to close it at that time in 2013 as much as a tough period. Because I'd been out, I wasn't cutting hair, so I was out networking and meeting people at that time. I managed to build a network already, and I remember saying to my wife at the time, "Look, give me 6 weeks and I'll make something happen." And fortunately I did. That's where sort of the Firmballs opportunity come in, and I took over that, and been running that for the last 8 years, which, networking through sports, so five-a-side football leagues and golf and pool, and grew it from a small business idea to 20 odd venues across the country, and something I'm passionate about, and I love it. It's been a great business in that sense.
Yeah. Well, just going back to that, obviously you closed Tony and Guy. Advice-wise for anyone look, we're going through a real tough time at the moment with the pandemic, and any advice, those tough times you went through, any advice for those people that are going through that period now? Because there's going to be a lot of them out there, and any words of wisdom to 7 years on, any sort of anything you can give advice wise?
Sure. I guess that it's showing resilience in some forms, no matter how bad sometimes things get. It's a horrible thing to have to close a business, of course. But and one thing I learned back then was, understanding, accepting failure in some form. For me as an individual, no one wants to fail. No one wants to go into a situation and go, "Oh, that's not worked out." But for me, life's an opportunity. Everything you do in life's an opportunity. So if from that, you learn something from them things, and you take them on to your next thing, and then you learn again, and you take that on to the next. So just that positive mindset, as tough as it can be sometimes, and as low as you can maybe get, try and keep that positive mindset, because you don't know what's around the corner. Be open to opportunity, reach out, ask for support, speak to people, surround yourself with good people, and people will get through it.
I agree, mate. I agree. And I think that positive, I just wondered how long it took. You said 6 weeks. How long did it take you when you closed that down and you gave the keys back? How long after that did it take you to get back on the wagon?
Mate, it was literally that quick. I was conscious of, like I said, fortunate my wife, we didn't have kids at the time. So it was obviously just me and my wife, but I literally, I knew that I tried not to have that period where I just thought I'd just sit there and wallow a little bit in it or anything. I just was literally next day I was up, mate, I backed on. I guess I had to just get up and get out. And I thought to myself, I don't want to. I haven't really got the time to rest. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm not bringing any money in or I've not created something within the next few weeks. I guess I said to my wife, like I said, give me 6 weeks. I'll start generating some money within that period, and I'll get something. And it was strange. I had after that, I said about that big pitch I did to Tony Mascolo. They actually then invited me in for an interview as a sales rep for Label M, which was their product range. Because I'd basically within the pitch, I'd basically tried to sell them a whole male grooming product range. I'd had it designed and everything, so it was a big pitch. But they was like, look, we really like what you've come up with, but look, we've got a couple of roles. Why don't you come and have an interview? And I was like, yeah. And I had that on the table. Obviously, I had the idea of the Shave Academy, and then I'd had a chat with Hamid about Firmballs. And I was like, out of all the things I'd sort of had planned, the job thing was just the last route I wanted to go down. And I sort of went for the interview chatting about this, thinking I don't really want to get a job, but for obvious reasons. I know my wife, if it'd been 6 months down the line, I probably would have had a choice and you got to go and get a job. But
it's interesting you see it, because we've got quite a similar lining up with that, to be honest. And that's why I was asking you about, I mean, do you ever feel, you let someone down? Because from my point of view, I've always felt a bit guilty, and I felt I've not so much myself down, more my wife really, because I've got a very supportive wife like you, and I always felt like I just let her down, because I had to make that call, and it was tough. I was it for you?
Oh, mate, 100%. I mimic that. Look, I think as individuals, we probably. I can take a lot. I'm quite, like I said, quite resilient in that sense. But for the worst thing I'll beat myself up about is exactly that. And I think I know obviously you got kids as well, and I think more so now with the kids that I've got that drive to succeed or want to succeed in some way, because you want to provide for them, and I don't want to let them down. And I did. That was at the time. I remember. Exactly that. I thought my wife had moved, all her family all still live in Essex, near her mum, all close family and blah blah. And she moved away with me to Brighton. And that's not a million miles away; it's only an hour and a half. But she's still done. Not only that, we've lost some money, and this. And I felt I'd massively let her down. And we've been together. I said I've known her since we was 11, so we've been together. We started going out with 18, so 24 years we've been together. And since we've been together, I've been promised that this time next year I'll be a millionaire, and she's still waiting. So
you know what? Exactly the same. Exactly the same as me. I've watched recently again The Founder. Have you seen The Founder?
Who's that? No.
Yeah, with it's basically Croc from McDonald's. It's the story.
Oh no, I've seen it. Yes, sorry, yeah.
And it's such an unbelievable story that I just read. It just resonated. I mean, one of the scenes I remember is his wife at the time, his first wife, sort of walks up the stairs and says, "If you get another one of your ideas, right, I'm going to just walk out." And I just thought to myself, I tell you what, how many times I've done that to my wife is unbelievable. And I bet the same with you, mate, isn't it? It's about the same, that's what we do.
Mate, absolutely. And she does. She laughs about it now, and she I'm sure there's elements of frustration in that laughter, but I guess she's over the last 10, 15 years through different businesses and different bits and pieces I've done and different ideas, and everything's going to be new and this and blah blah blah. I guess she's almost just accepted. Look, that's who he is. That's how he is. I'm never going. And there's a part of her, I think, that I hope we'll have to ask her when we get her on next time. But that I guess that she loves about me in that sense, that she, I'm not so much. Look, and there's nothing wrong. My dad, he had the same job for many years and paid off the mortgage and retired, and that as people did in that stage. You know what I mean? I guess in my mindset, it was always that I don't want to do that. I guess a nightmare for me would be doing the same job for 30 years, doing exactly the same thing. And that for me would be something that, you know, I wouldn't want to go down that path. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Certainly it works for certain people. But for me, it was just that like we alluded to, life's an opportunity. I want to experience different things and try different things. And you know what? I think once you get to that point where you do sort of understand, accept sort of failure, you go, you know what? I'd rather have tried something and it's not worked than sitting there going, I wonder what would have happened if I'd started that. You know what I mean? Like, so if I'd never started the salon, would I have ever been in Brighton? Would I have ever started other businesses? Would I have still been in working in Lakeside? Do you know what I mean? You just think, you've got to take these opportunities and you hopefully.
Because that was one of the questions I was going to ask. Those lessons you learned in those 3 years, how much of a different business person now are you for that period of time? How much has that taught you? You know, are you different now than what you were?
Oh, 100%. Definitely. I think you take as much as you can. I think it's an education. That's how I looked at it. And my wife, supportive as she was, that was one of the things she said. She said, look, all right, we've lost some money, but you know, if you had still gone and done a 3-year degree somewhere, how much that would have cost, lost or whatever.
That's a great mindset. It's just a great mindset, isn't it?
And that you sort of go, you know what, it's just a learning curve. Everything in life's a learning curve. And I think as long as you're open to constantly learning, and because none of us are perfect, even Richard Branson, I'm sure he's sitting there, you know, as wealthy as he is and financially secure, that he will sit there and it's still open to learning new experiences and doing stuff that we do. And I think that's how we evolve. That's how we become better people as well as better business people as well. I guess that's the key.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, mate. I totally agree. So Tony and Guy came to an end. What, you know, move us forward from there then. What happened? Where'd you go from there, and what happened next? After that 6 weeks you had to go, what happened after that?
So we've done then, obviously, like I said, so that's when sort of Firmballs come into to play. Like I said, Hamid, my business partner at the time, he was a solicitor, run Firmballs on the side. I knew of it because I'd sort of played and helped him and bits and pieces, and he was like,
so for listeners that don't know what Firmballs is, do you want to explain what Firmballs is, mate?
Yeah, sure. So it's basically 5-a-side football leagues, but for businesses. So sort of team building, networking through sport was the main premise behind it. And we had a couple of leagues that run through the summer in and around Sussex. And he was like, look, this is the idea. He said, what do you think of it? He said, I think it's got potential to go a bit further. Do you want to come on board? I was like, great, let's give it a go. And look, as I alluded to earlier, I'm a massive football fan. I love playing football. And I thought, well, I love business. I love football. This is probably a perfect fit for me. So let's give it a go. And it was fantastic. You know, I come on board and to immediately looked at the business and went, right, okay, it's running in the summer now. Let's try and get some leagues all year round. So it's a business that can sustain itself. And we ended up growing to, you know, 20 odd venues across the country, with, you know, leagues in London, Manchester, Birmingham, mainly still across Sussex, which is where we're based. But and I'm sort of running that over the last, over 8 years now. And we expanded. We've done a few tournaments abroad in Dublin, and we've done then obviously I diversified a bit and went into golf as well, and we done some golf leagues, and then pool as well. So just using sport as a way of community. Look, it's a massive icebreaker, isn't it? As we spoke about earlier with golf, like same with football, same with pool, whatever it is. If there's that sporting element in, guys can go and sit at a bar anywhere or go to any networking event and start chatting, who do you support, mate? And you know what I mean, automatically there's that conversation starter. And I think with sport and business, they do really go hand in hand.
And the networking side of it,
it's a lovely piece. I love it.
Now in the time of COVID, I'm going to go through the COVID bit in a bit regarding how that's impacted business wise. But you know, how important is networking for you? Because obviously this is quite a crucial part of your business, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, massively. I think for me, networking is fundamentally all about building relationships, and I guess for me, I really put myself out there even when I was from being at the salon to obviously with Firmballs and with Sussex Business Time and the other business I run, it was one of them that being out in that business community, networking and meeting new people, because again, it's back to the whole thing of opportunity, isn't it? You meet someone, it might not necessarily be that you do business with that person, but if you get on with someone and build a relationship, you don't know where that's going to go in the future, you know. And I think that's that for me is such a key element. And look, it's more so now over the last year of what's happened. It's about how we enhance those relationships and be able to reach out to people and go, look, how can I support you? Can you support me? Can we, you know, how can we collaborate? Can we work together? And that's strength in numbers, and that's why networking so powerful, I think, because you build that. You know, I've got a business support network that I know that I can reach out to and speak to gain support or support them in some way. And that's what I was saying I'm really passionate about now, and especially within Sussex, I think. You know, whether it's quite unique, I guess I've run businesses here, so it's difficult to know how it is elsewhere. But certainly here, I feel like it's quite a unique thing that people do. There's a lot of businesses have got a similar mindset to that they want to do that and they want to work together. And I think so.
Yeah, no, totally, mate. I mean, the reason
valuable.
why I feel home down here as well as back in Wales is because it's very similar communities. As in, it's a village community in a city. That's basically how I can explain Cardiff. Or, you know, it's done on trust and it's done on people, and then that networking side of it, absolutely. My personal view is it's imperative that you get it right. You know, it's not about I've got to do business every time with you, but I tell you what, if I know I need something, I can come to you and you'll know somebody who does. You know, and that's what it's about, mate.
Mate, 100%. I mimic what you're saying. It's spot on, and there's some people who do. I've been to. You've probably done it as well. You go to networking events, and it can be very salesy people there. That here's my business card. This is what I do. What do you do? Can we do business? No, like you could imagine running a company called Firmballs. There's been many occasions when I've got people go, "Oh, what do you do?" I run Firmballs, and you can tell the glaze over them. Go, okay, and almost looking over their shoulder, who can they go and talk to now? Because they don't really know what it's about. Firmballs, especially when I guess you're referred to as Mr. Firmballs around Brighton.
Mate, it's worse. I've been on the front door of my nightclub. I've been called a lot worse than Mr. Firmballs. Let me tell you. I'm telling you. So how's COVID been then, bud? I know we haven't mentioned COVID, but obviously, how has COVID been for you guys?
Oh, mate, tough, no question about it. Firmballs took we launched at the beginning of last year, or the back end of 2019. We launched Firmballs Pool, which we had a massive response to. We had nearly 40 odd companies playing in Brighton alone. We was just about to launch London and almost replicate what we're doing with football all over the country, really, with pool, and it was becoming really popular. And it literally March stopped everything. So no football events, no golf, no pool, and it's from lockdowns we've had to stop. I guess I'm fortunate in the sense with Firmballs that it's quite an agile business. So it's sort of structured a way. I bought, as I sort of mentioned earlier, with Hamed, who's my business partner. I bought him out a couple of years back, and I sort of looked at it in a sense of I outsourced pretty much all of staffing type issues with Firmballs, so that there was only really me as an employee of the business. But you can imagine with 20 odd venues, you've got referees and league organisers and stuff like that all over. So it was a case of I outsourced that with a partnership I put in place. So it's quite agile. So with the business, although there's zero income when it stops, which is not great for any business, but there's not many outgoings either. So if I haven't got a venue, I haven't got to pay venues if I'm not there. I haven't got to pay referees if I'm not there. There's no staff to pay if we're not there. So zero income, zero outgoings. The business as a whole can be quite agile in that sense, which is I guess a plus. And because of the nature,
that decision to outsource that, just if I can ask a question, mate, on that, was that strategic, or is that something from the past that you thought I don't want to, I want to be as agile as I can be, or what was that? What's the main decision on that?
I think a combination of things, mate. Really, certainly. One of the biggest challenges for me as a business, and I'm sure there's something I find quite fascinating, but maybe struggle with on a personal thing, and something I'd like to learn more about. Managing people is I'd like to, like we said, I think of myself as a people person. I like to get on with most people.
Absolutely.
But managing staff is probably is a completely different thing to that. And what I find fascinating with other businesses is creating that culture within a company, where we all know it's like you run your own business, but trying to get employees to believe in what you're doing and creating a culture, very difficult to try and do. And I know people that have done, like the guys that got some friends at Rocket Mill, Ben and Sam brothers, who started it as a small business, a digital agency with 90 odd staff now, but they've created a great culture there where people want to work and people want. I think so. For me, with Firmballs, it was a situation of, I guess, with Firmballs, I love it as a business, but I knew that there was going to be. This was a business I was going to run, and I always on the lookout for my next opportunity. And I knew that was coming. And we're leading to that later, maybe with Sussex Business Times and County Business Clubs, which we launched. But so with Firmballs, I thought, right, how can I limit, I guess, to reduce the time that I'm spending in it, so I can outsource and get other people to do stuff for me, where I can still oversee it and run it and make sure it's maintained. And that way there's less management of people, because I've got other people to manage their staff who I've outsourced to. So I think, a little bit of, from experience from the salon, going, I don't know if I want to have lots of staff again, where I've got 10, 20, 30 staff, and you've got to manage all them things, where I can just go, right, this is what I want. I want you to provide me a service to do that, and you take it away. So I guess a bit of experience from the salon, as well as a bit of a strategic plan from a personal point of view, I guess, as well.
Yeah, the only reason I asked that was more so because the listeners, anyone listening to the podcast that potentially going into their own business, I think that there's nothing wrong with that either. I mean, that's what I was trying to get to, is that from a strategic point of view, if you're going to go into a business that actually, I mean, I've got several friends, one of them being in an engineering industry that, has got hardly any staff, because actually, if they have a massive downturn in the industry, then they can just offload without any penalties. And I think, again, it's this sort of that stigma that actually you don't have to have a massive work. You hear a lot of businesses saying, well, I've got 30 staff. How many you got? And you think, well, no, it's not all about the 30 staff. It's about actually the money that generates from the business, and actually how much time you need to put into that business to make it work, mate, isn't it?
Mate, absolutely that, mate. Absolutely that. I think you're spot on. It is. It's just, it is from I think it's, and more so, I guess, now with COVID and how things are doing, working remotely and things like that. Do you like look at companies that are going, right, I've got a big office with 30 staff in it. Do you actually need that? And then, so I guess what COVID's done is made people look at their businesses, having the time to look at their businesses and really show. I certainly did with Firmballs. I mean, look, even from a point of going, which I can't believe I didn't do a long time ago, but we sort of restructured. I looked at the initial part and restructured it so it's completely cashless. So we use COVID as a way of going, for everything, card payments, online payments, and time that I didn't have to do that before. That I looked at the business and gone, look, how much money we're losing on cash coming in, and the difficulties with that, and just looking at different points of your business and how you can. And I think with anyone, I guess that's the key with any business, is you're trying to grow it, or what you're trying to do is always trying to. It's that famous saying, isn't there? Work on your business and not in it. And I think we can all get. I'm guilty of that a lot. You get so caught up in it, and you're working. Well, I'll do that later. I'll look at that another time, because you're in it. You need to take that step back and take that time out. And COVID, I guess, for some, and it works to your advantage or not, but you give you the opportunity and a bit of time to be able to look at that. And which,
well, like I said, it's people I've talked to within the business community, there's got to be positives out of this, isn't it? And what you just said is actually one of the positives is when you get reflection. Don't get me wrong, we don't want to see it again, but ultimately there's a time to reflect. There's also a time to just assess where your business is at, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, no, absolutely. So
after that, then, so talk us through the current ones then. So the business club is exciting. Tell everyone about the the idea around it, where you got the idea from, and what exactly it is, so anyone not from Sussex understand it.
Yeah, sure. So obviously I took up about 3 years ago. Another friend of mine through networking, Lee, he's owned Sussex Business Times, which is a business publication, been going for about 40 years now. And I knew of it. It's quite a well-known magazine in the business community, and he was like, "Look, I'm at a stage where I want to take it to the next level, try and bring it into the 21st century. I guess I want to try and create this members club, if you like, that we can help support business and stuff." And I loved the concept back then. So I was like, I was running Firmballs full time, but looking like I was outsourcing a little bit at a time. And I think, well, okay, can I take something else on? Yep, let's. So I took SBT over at that time with a view of it's been a long 3-year process. I think it was looking at where it was at the time and the initial fundamental idea to go, well, how do we expand it? How do we do it properly? And it's been great. We've really worked together, and he runs his own business as well. So I was running Firmballs and SBT, and he was running that Fresh Clean at the time. And we're trying to get county business clubs up and running in the background. And we were always planning to launch last year, and then obviously the pandemic hit. But probably, if anything, I guess from the type of concept it is, which is, it's a members club, but an online community that we're trying to create.
Yeah.
At a time when at COVID, people need that type of thing. We need communities and need people to come together. So we created this members club, and it's been great. I mean, we launched it last year, up to nearly sort of 500 members, and it's been great because of the relationships I've managed to build over this period of time. It was great to be able to get feedback, and which we've done over the last few months to the point where we've tweaked it, and we're just getting ready for the relaunch in the next couple of weeks. So the concept's still the same, but the platform's been redesigned with some new software, and we've basically brought an online community together with an online marketplace. There's a content hub. There's some growth services like a crowdfunding platform. So we just brought it all together, really. And the main thing, the main ethos of it is all about collaboration over competition. So I'm talking with loads of members clubs like the Chambers and Network My Club, and Brad, who's a good friend of mine, who's done great with obviously his online networking side of stuff.
Yeah, he's a great guy, isn't he?
Brilliant. Really inspiring. And, I think he sort of talk about adapting and pivoting. He had an events company that were doing events at sporting venues. All of a sudden can't do any of that. So he's pivoted and done such a great job in regards to the, utilizing the Remo platform and doing stuff. So but he's a members club similar to what we're doing, but there's no competition there. It's about, how do we collaborate? How do we work together? And I think for me, that's something, again, like I sort of said, I'm really passionate about, and I want to work together. Because I do believe a collaboration is all about, it's got to work for both parties, isn't it? Both businesses have got to benefit from it. And I think it's not about what I can do. Of course, there's some similarities there, but if what I do benefits your members and what you do benefits ours, then it's got to be a win-win for everyone, I think. And that's our sort of look of it. So, so really excited about that. The relaunch is coming soon. So, keen to get it out there again.
Have you ever read The Key Person of Influence?
No.
By Daniel Priestley. What you just spoke about then, in a nutshell, is exactly what he talks about. In order to become a key person of influence in your field, one of the main key areas that he talks about is having partnerships and collaborating. And if you haven't got that partnership kind of collaboration, then you're never going to be able to put yourself in that key, because you're always going to always look inside rather than out. It's a really interesting book, mate. But just when you were talking, then you resonated over one of his chapters, and it was really it's really nice to listen to. But if you get a chance, I tell you, it's a really good one. Any of the listeners, it's a really good book. Key Person of Influence is. It's a really good book, and Daniel he's quite active online as well on LinkedIn. He's a good guy.
Okay, I'll definitely check it out.
No, you should do. Yeah. So where did it evolve from there then? So the Times and the County Club, and where's it now then at the moment? Where's it? It's still developing.
So it's out there. It's in the city. Like, we've got members on board. It's out there. We're promoting it. The actual platform is ready to, so people are on there now and communicating and engaging. But like I say, we've taken the feedback, and with anything like this, it's an evolving project. So we've taken the feedback over the last few months and, like I say, redesigned the platform pretty much to be ready to go out. Like I say, beginning of March, it's going to be there, and keen again. And even then, once it's launched, we're going to get more feedback, and we've got a brand new app coming with it as well. So,
amazing.
It's almost trying to create this, I guess, support local business in a local environment, and like a localized LinkedIn for the social element of it. And then the marketplace is this local, I guess, like an Amazon type thing, but for local business, a whole shop local. They're the type of elements that we've tried to all package together. And I think what's happening at the moment with the collaborations and the partnerships that we've managed to get on board so far, which has been amazing. It's a one-stop shop. So someone starting a business in Sussex, they've got some support there. They can go and what networking events on. It's not about what we're doing as county business clubs, but they can go, right, there's a chamber event there, there's a network my club event there, and just one place where the community can go and connect and support each other. And I think
I think it's great, mate. I know you can say it, but I could probably give you an analogy where I think it's at. It pulls all the agencies together and actually gives you a reason to go on there. So whereas, the chamber, they do that, within their own right, they're great, but that's what they do. They bring business together. But the next stage is how do you do business? How do you actually do business together?
Yeah.
And you've got to do that, in my opinion, through that, we've said through rapport, through interaction. And what that platform allows you to do is that, isn't it? It is about interacting, and it takes it the stage further, which I think is brilliant.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, no, like I say, it's been a long 3-year project and something that's evolved a lot over the last few years. But something I was, when I first had that coffee with Lee and he mentioned the sort of kernel of an idea to me, I was like, this is something I can get my teeth into, and I was something I was really passionate about. And it's like I say, it's taken a while to get it, but we're there, and I think the next step's quite an exciting one. And I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. And again, fortunate that I've got a lot of support around me, and the business community have responded well to it. And it sort of encapsulated in the awards. We've done the awards at the end of last year with Brad at Network My Club, and the response to that was amazing. It was a new sort of idea I sort of put out there, think, how can we do this virtual business awards, bring the business community together? And me and Brad chucked a couple of ideas around, and then we put it out there, when you go, right, we're going to do it where there's no judges, so we'll just get it voted for by the community. What a great way to do it. But what happens if no one votes? And then but you put it out, and it was amazing. We had 31 nominations, we had nearly 3,000 votes come in across all the different categories, and on the night we had 100 business people in the room celebrating the achievements of the business community, whilst raising over $1,000 for Rocking Horse, which was amazing. So I was blown away.
We haven't really touched but you do a lot for charity Rocking Horse, and you do loads for that, which is amazing, mate. Again, I know these ones are a bit of a pat on the back as well, because an outsider coming in, which I see myself coming down over the bridge and down into, I'm always a key sort of charity giver. But there's something that Rocking Horse you do a lot with, and Gavin and all the guys. It's something you're very passionate about.
Oh, mate, look, Rocking Horse, the charity very close to my heart, just purely on, my twins were born, nearly 6 years ago, and my daughter came out first. Great, and then my wife had emergency cesarean, and Luca, my son, was in intensive care in a Trevor Mann unit for a few weeks, and it was, mate, probably, I'll be honest with you, the scariest time of my entire life. You go through one stage of holding my daughter in my arms and being the most excited and elated I've ever been, to within probably about half an hour being the most scared, with a doctor going, look, he's not breathing, he's on thing, there's potential brain damage, there's all sorts of things going through your head. And I'm like, and I still remember that time, like just being in there, and again, I guess down to mindset. But I remember the doctor saying to me that these are the situations, and potential brain damage, all these type of things that go with it. And I was like, okay. And he gave me loads of stuff to read. I went away, I got my head around, and I went back and I said to him, look, I get what you're saying, I read everything you said. I said, my brain pretty much works in one way. All I need to know, is there a possibility that he can come out of here okay? And he said, yeah. I go, don't say any more then, that's all I need to know. He said, because obviously he was, we can't say yes or no, but yeah, of course there's a potential. I said, that's all I need to hear. As long as there's a potential, and that's all I held on to. And then I literally kept a real, for that time, I remember being in the hospital for a couple of weeks. We was in there and I was running up and down the stairs between my wife and my daughter and Luca, who's in intensive care, and you go. And I kept quite a strong mindset at the time. I don't feel I allowed myself to go to a place where I couldn't be. And then I remember that after his MRI and everything that happened with it, it then come to a point where they went, the same doctor come in, he went, well, in answer to your question a couple of weeks ago, we can't see anything wrong with him. He's absolutely fine. And it was at that point, I just, all the emotion, and I just went, grabbed the doctor, get in here. I was like, come. And you just, but it was again, in my head, it was a thing of like, I believed that positive mindset, believed he was going to be all right, kept telling myself that. And thankfully, I was one of the lucky ones. He come out and thanks to Rockin' Olsen, obviously, what the support, the Trevor Man unit is just phenomenal. They pretty much saved his life. So for me, I will always be indebted to him, I guess. And that's one of the reasons I do what I do and try and raise as much money as I can whenever I can. It's a great charity, and there's so many amazing charities out there. I know you do some stuff for the Star Trust, and there's some amazing.
But I think when you've got that personal attachment to it, though, there's a lot more why as well, isn't it? I mean, I've got, again, it's bizarre, mate, because I've been with my wife nearly 24 years. And we had the same experience with my first, exactly what you just said, is exactly what happened with my first child. And it was exactly the same. We've gone through a bit of a, I think we've gone the same
similarities
sort of
there, mate.
just in different sort of ways. But no. I've got total empathy for where you are out there. And Noah's Ark back in Wales I've raised a lot of money for them as well for the same reasons, really, So amazing, it's great. Yeah. And I love, we've got to give to get, and I know you're a firm believer of that, and if anyone can give, they should, in my opinion.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. Like we sort of mentioned about, we talked about Gav Willis, he runs a business. His Share 77 campaign he's doing this year, like raising 77k over a 10-year period for charities is phenomenal, and I think, like you sort of alluded to earlier, and I sort of said about, who sort of inspires you is them people around you that you work with who you sort of look at and go, they're great people, and doing some great things. And I think, we can create time to give a little bit back. And I think it is, especially at the moment, everyone's been hit really hard, charities especially. And I think that's where it's key to try and support if we can.
Yeah, totally, mate, totally. So I gave you a bit of a snippet, but we're going to end with three sort of questions that one I've nicked from the High Performance podcast. I'll openly say that now because I really like it. But yeah, we're going to end with the three questions I made. So biggest learning so far in life?
I guess just for me, from a business point of view.
Yeah.
From a business point of view, but biggest learning is just look. You got to try. Look, you got to graft. You got to put your work in. Be passionate about something and put the work in. Because nothing comes for free. I think no matter what you do in life, especially from a business point of view, you've got to put that time and you've got to put that effort in, but be passionate about it and do something that you love doing, because otherwise it can be a real struggle. So I think, that's a key thing for me.
Yeah, cool, mate. And then this is the one I've nicked, but I like it. So 3 non-negotiables in Sam's world, 3 non-negotiables that if you want to enter that world or you want to be part of Sam's world, what are they?
I think for me, integrity is almost one of the top of the list, if I'm being honest. Got to have integrity with anything you do. Don't try to screw people over and just do everything with integrity. Be a good person. I think that's something that's really important to me. We read a lot of stuff from different people in books on, business mindset, and you've got to be this hard-nosed business person. You've got to, I guess the level of success will depend on where you get to. But I guess for me in life, success isn't necessarily then about how many zeros you got in your bank balance, but it's where you are as a person and an individual. And I think to be a good person, to other people, and that will come back, be good and be positive. I think they're two key things for me in that sense, that um, I really strongly believe, and don't believe that you have to be a good person and be successful. In a sense, I think that's something that's key for me.
Yeah, cool, mate. That's great.
And then I guess finally, so what we got? Yeah, and yeah, so yeah, yeah. Go on, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I was going to take positive as being one of them, actually, because I think that's something that, I wasn't going to try and pull more from you with that one, because I think
Cool.
what I get a sense of, if you're not that positive person in your world, you don't want them in your world.
Yeah, that's it. And look, exactly that. I think, surround yourself with positivity, because it's this positivity breeds as much as negativity does, doesn't it? And, I think, if you surround yourself with positivity and then positive people, then look, more good things will happen, and doesn't mean that you've got to, you can't be honest. I think that's the final thing. They sort of marry up, I guess, with each other. There's an element of honesty as well there. Like we've had I'd like to, in the sense that you can be a bit vulnerable, and you can say, look, you don't have to be always that person that goes, oh yeah, everything's great. You can just be a little bit honest and go, you know what, things have been a bit shit sometimes, but doesn't mean that that doesn't make you a negative person by understanding that things are not great all the time. You can, I think you can be open about that.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Because I mean, as I say, we can't hide behind everything's going to be right, perfect all the time. It never is it? Cool. It's never a straight line. There's always a curve to go around.
Mate, absolutely.
So, then the last one, mate, I've got is, so someone sat there, youngster or anyone really, just sat there, understanding, wants to crack on with something, right? So this podcast is all about people. For me, everyone who's been on it and who is on it, they just crack on with something, and get on with it. They're sat there, they're not sure, they're dilly-dallying, they're procrastinating. What bit of advice would you give that person?
Take action. Do it. Go out there and try it and fail at it, but learn from that. Don't sit there and because we can all, like you said, we can all procrastinate, and we're probably, even people like you and me, we're still come up with other ideas and go, oh yeah, I will do that eventually. But don't do that. That, if anything, this last year's taught us that no one knows what's around the corner. The world is a crazy place. We don't know how long we're here for. Just, I guess I'm not saying get up every day and go out and live it like it's your last. I don't mean that. I don't think. But I guess the point I'm making is, if you've got a kernel of an idea, then explore it. Don't wait for that. Don't go, oh, I'll do that in a few months' time. I'll do it in a few months' time, because you always put it off. I think just take action, get an idea, take action, go out there and make it happen, because you can. If you believe in yourself, if you believe in yourself, you'll go out there, and that self-belief, which gets, it gets tested at times. I mean, you both know, if you do fail, it's self-belief. Am I doing the right thing? How many people am I letting down? What am I doing at? But if you can just, if you believe in yourself, you can achieve anything. That's my honest thing. I think if you believe in yourself, you can achieve anything you want. And
I love that. And if anyone wants to, so we're going to come to an end now, but if anyone wants to contact Sam, how do they get in touch with you, bud?
Yeah, mate, look, and from a business point of view, I'm obviously on LinkedIn, and you go on there, you get in touch with me on any email, sam.thomas@countybusinessclubs.co.uk. Drop me an email, give me a shout. Anything to do with business, I love chatting and seeing how, whatever with the community, I've built something there that we hope that we can, get out there and support as many people as possible. So my door's open. I love chatting to people, and look, if you want to collaborate and work together, then it'd be great to hear from people.
Yeah, it's great, mate. It's been such a pleasure to go through the journey. There's lots of things I didn't know and you filled the gaps with. And look, I wish you all the best in everything you do. I love the positive outlook. I always have done. Good luck with everything, mate. And thanks ever so much for coming on the Crack On podcast.
Mate, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on. Really enjoyed it. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, great, mate. I'll look after yourself, but have a good day. See you later.
Top man. Cheers.
And here we go. Sam Thomas. Lost the business. I love that 6-week period. It took me 6 weeks to just get back on the wagon. And I love the support he had from his wife. I think that is crucial. And if you take anything away, you've got to have that. Everyone's got to go on the journey together. If you're going to go on your own, or you're going to, lessons that get learned from all of us that just go and do it, you've got to make sure you communicate to the people around you that what you're doing, because the people that care are the people that stick by you. And myself and Sam share such a similar story with losing something and getting back on the wagon and getting on with it. And I love that in him. Great guy. If you're ever in Sussex and need to connect with people, Sam is the guy to reach out to. Sam Thomas, thank you ever so much, mate. I love that edition. Hope you enjoy it. Follow it. Go on to our website, www.crackonpodcast.com. Listen to it, feedback on it, and just give me some loving. Anyway, have a great day. Crack on. Crack on.